The 2008 housing crash is back, and most people are looking at the completely wrong data. Redfin just confirmed that buyer demand has collapsed to levels we haven't seen since the great financial crisis. But here's the thing nobody wants to admit. Nobody cares about demand stats, because prices are still standing. Nationally, home values have barely moved. And that's exactly why most people think everything is fine. For years, economists said the market was locked in, that nobody would ever give up their 3% mortgage. And they were right, until now. Because new data just changed everything. For the first time this entire decade, there are now more people holding 6% mortgages than those with the pandemic-era low rates. It just crossed over this past quarter. Let that sink in. The golden handcuffs are coming off. The COVID housing market is finally dying. And what comes next is going to shock a lot of people. Now I know what you're thinking. Prices are flat. Nothing is crashing. Where's the problem? Here's the problem. Flat is not fine. After 6 years of prices doubling in most markets, a flat market changes absolutely nothing for buyers. Housing is still historically unaffordable. Even a 10% price drop wouldn't feel like relief after prices went up 80% in some areas. That's why buyers are still frozen. That's why the market is paralyzed. And that's why real change only comes one way. Prices actually have to fall. Not just stop going up. Actually come down. And that is exactly what is starting to happen right now. The catalyst for a major price correction is developing as we speak, and the signs are already visible if you know where to look. Now, some of you are skeptical, especially if you live in the Northeast or the Midwest, because in those markets prices are still holding. But here's the reality. This crash is not hitting everywhere at the same time. It moves in stages, and the first stage is already in full collapse mode. Florida condos. If you are in the market for a condo in Florida right now, today is genuinely one of the best buying opportunities in decades. Because prices have fallen off a cliff. We are seeing declines that match, and in some cases EXCE, what we saw in 2008. I am not exaggerating. In some parts of Florida, it is literally name your price. Take St. True. Petersburg is a perfect example. A 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom condo in a great part of downtown St. Pete. Paseo, nice building. Good location, listed at $540,000 at the peak, now sitting at $299,000. That's a 45% price cut. And it's still not selling. And here's what makes this even more significant. That same condo dropped 50% in the 2008 crash too. Condos are the most volatile segment of real estate. They always show the cracks first, before single-family homes follow. And I found an even more extreme example. One condo that peaked at $1,000 in the summer of 2022. It is now struggling to sell at $248,000. That is a 75% collapse in value. Worse than anything we saw in 2008. Now, yes, it carries a $326,000 special assessment due at closing. But even if you add that to the sale price, still down nearly 50% from peak. And here's the terrifying part. Nobody even knows where this condo actually sells, because the special assessment now outweighs any real equity. The sale price could effectively be zero. This is not a normal market correction. This is a liquidity trap. So how does Florida connect to the national story? Here is what's happening right now across the entire country. Demand is collapsing. Sellers now massively outnumber buyers. The mortgage lock-in is ending. More people can now sell without giving up a low rate. Inventory is exploding. We could hit 2019 supply levels or beyond this year. And carrying costs are destroying affordability, insurance, HOA fees, property taxes, all surging simultaneously. When these four things happen at the same time, the math stops working. Prices have to fall. Not eventually, now. Even Bill McBride, one of the most respected housing researchers in the country, and someone who has never been a housing bear, is now acknowledging that prices will face serious pressure. When the bulls start admitting the math doesn't work, you pay attention. Here is the bottom line. What you are seeing in Florida right now is not isolated. It is a preview of what happens when insurance costs explode, HOA fees skyrocket, inventory surges, and buyers disappear all at the same time. The Sunbelt is showing you the future of high-cost markets across America. The mainstream media wants you to believe that sideline cash will rescue this market. It won't. Investors are already walking away, and the people left holding the bag are the ones who bought at the 2022 peak. Watch the months of supply in your local zip code very closely, because the shift from a seller's market to a full price correction happens faster than anyone expects. The floor is cracking. And this time, the data is impossible to ignore. Drop a comment below and tell me exactly what you're seeing in your local market. Are prices holding where you live, or are you starting to see the cracks appear? I read every single comment. And if this video gave you a clearer picture of where this market is actually heading, hit that subscribe button right now, because this story is just getting started, and I will be here breaking it down every step of the way. See you in the next one.